So, hey guys, Chauzu here. So this is going to be my deep dive into the 9th anniversary King Legend, or Albert as we know him as now. It feels weird to say, but despite being a normal legend and being a filler compared to the hype Super Sugo batch, I allegedly believe that this King Legend is the best and strongest legend of this anniversary, and I wouldn't say there's any contest here at all. Like, the Super Sugo Sandy has some clear strength and unique attributes. Queen works even better with versus Kaido than King, but as a whole package, as a actual unit to use, like, this King might legit be one of the best captains in the game, and it's hard to see how he will be dethroned basically, because he's actually legit insane at what he does. PvP not as impressive, we will look at that as well, and I will also show you some team comps to use with King, including the ultimate versus Kaido team comp for possible Sai Super Boss Kizuna. With that, let's recap what King does. And yeah, we see here the Sugo Fest. He will be on part 3, of course. He's actually together with Robin, so if you don't have Robin, this might be okay, like even Super Tandem Kaido, which King doesn't match up perfectly with, but still a strong legend. As for here, let's take a look at King. So King is int-driven powerhouse, and he has quite amazing potential abilities. Fear is incredibly good for his kit. I can't understate how important it is that he has fear to work as good as we'd want. Hunger, very nice as well. Only removes it by 2 turns on level 5. That's very weird. Usually it's level 3. But for legends, that's very surprising. And the biggest sadness with King, which is maybe why I sounded a bit negative before, is that he has a super tandem instead of a rush, and that just makes me so sad. Like, rush would have been perfect, would have made this King so much better. Like, imagining a rush where King has to hit like 2nd or something would have been absolutely godlike, but even despite that, he's still amazing as said. King also has a super type, which fits very well for the versus Kaido team comp for Super Boss Kizuna. Anyway, let's look at the captain, which is the main reason he is as good as he is, together with, of course, the special being like the perfect companion to it. So King is a driven and powerhouse booster, 1.25 times HP. Attack boost is minimum 5 times, up to 5.5 times. And this is based on the timing of the previous character attack. So usually the way this works is that first tap is 5 times, next tap is 5.5 times, and then as long as you hit perfects, you keep the 5.55 times attack. So that's perfectly fine. It's a modern captain ability for sure. Slightly boost chance of landing on own type slots. That's a bit whatever. Nice bonus, I guess, like with double King. It's a pretty decent rate, but not guaranteed. Like, you should expect to get like 3 matching orbs every turn. Recovery orbs become 1 orbs, and that's just such a great bonus, because the way King works, you will often want to use double King as captain, and like, just having a captain with the option of getting 1 orbs is so strong. And he completely removes bind, the spear, special bind, special reverse, and paralysis on himself. That's important to note. It's just for him, and usually these are like, yeah, that's pretty cool. But that's like when you have just 2 of them, like, oh, I can swap and remove my bind, or the spear, or special bind, or whatever, but he's just immune to everything, and this is what makes him so crazy, because Like, these are basically the 5 most common debuffs in the game to apply to your crew. And just by running double king, you're basically immune to it. Like, sure, let's say you get binded, 4 units get binded, captains and middle row. Just by having double king, like, it doesn't matter if you also get a spear because you resist that. Doesn't matter whatever happens, like, you will be able to use king. And sure, king can't remove bind and everything from all units, but just having the both captains always be guaranteed to not be affected by everything means that you can always do damage, and a lot of the time you don't even need all units. So you're going to be able to do some new crazy stuff, and I'm going to show you some partners that fit very well with this way of playing. And one thing I'd like to note as well is that fully resisting the spear as captain is the same as being immune to the spear for the crew, since only captains can resist the spear. So the spear is a total non-issue. The way king works is that special bind and special reavers are basically also a non-issue. So the main issues we have is like if more party members get binded, or if you get like paralysis. But that's a lot, that's very manageable for sure. Funnily, the most annoying of these for king is probably the paralysis, because as said, bind, you probably still have at least 4 units to attack with, but paralysis, it might just be the king duo, so you probably want to remove it for your teammates. But yeah, as said, the special complements him so great because it does resist the special bind and special reavers, but usually doesn't matter because sure, king can use his special, but you still need to remove the special bind and special reavers for your teammates to help you out. But king just does that for them. -2 CD, -7 special bind, like this is actually just way too good. Like, I've wanted a unit like this, like just wanting a captain that can help with this very common combination of special reavers and special bind, which is one of the most hard things to counter in the game. And we have that, but we also handle the spear, we handle bind, paralysis. Like, it's mind-blowing that they made a unit like this actually. He also does a ton of damage to all enemies, and it changes block and type slots to characters slot, which can be funky for sure. One interesting thing though is that it's just type slots, so he won't change other characters' tandem orbs, which is pretty big. Like, let's say we pair him up with versus Kaido or Queen, for example. Both can help you give tandem orbs. And then let's say you use King after. Like, he won't change any tandem orbs, but he can give more units a potential one orbs. So usually the way it works is that you want just one tandem orb optimally and rest be Wano, but that's often pretty hard to achieve, of course. But yeah, if captain is driven or powerhouse, you get a plus 2.0 chain boost for 1 turn, which can be removed by enemies or crew. And this is obviously to pairing well with versus Kaido, because the way it works is that first you use King, it gives you that plus 2.0 chain boost. Then you use versus Kaido, and obviously other stuff before that, like Queen, Yak, stuff like that. Use versus Kaido, you keep the chain boost, you get the attack and ore boost. Then use King special again, you have the chain boost, attack boost, ore boost, you get the secondary effect. When you get a base attack boost, pretty decent one, plus 1500 attack. And you also get a very strong increased chain growth special, where every perfect you hit will increase the chain by plus 0.7 instead of plus 0.3. So yeah, just incredibly strong and perfectly made to work with versus Kaido. And even if you don't do a comp like that, you still have a very high chain boost and some pretty good utility. You also do damage. You have the options of some supports like Law, for example, to add an ore boost to your team if you do an int focus team, stuff like that. So yeah, I honestly can't wait to use double king. It's like, usually I don't like to use 2 of the same captains. I think hybrid is more fun, but There's really nobody you can hybrid with him, because let's say that Captain Escape binded. Yeah, you have King as one cap, but the other cap doesn't resist binds, you have to remove bind anyway. So stuff like that. There might be some hybrids, especially if you mainly have to deal with the special bind, special reverse combo. As for the super type, you need a Beast Pirate member basically. You get a chain multiplier boost 1.5 times. You change King slots to recovery, which he obviously makes to Wano, and then he can give it to all his teammates with a special. And he changes int characters to super int. So this is basically the only way King gets his guaranteed Wano orb, but it's nice to have a guaranteed way of getting it. And chain multiplier boost just works perfectly with this kit, since he can use his special to get the chain boost, and then you can add this after versus Kaido uses his special, so you get both the chain buffs. Most of the time you won't get the final chain buff with versus Kaido teams, because you'd rather use something else, mainly Queen and Robin, which we'll take a look at. But still, nice bonus, of course. As for the crewmate abilities, they are so broken. He is immune to special bind, special reverse, blow away, and paralysis. Imagine if the blow away immunity was also as captain. Like, it would be asking for too much, but would have been amazing, of course. The support also great. Yeah, Kaido Queen, final battle plus 0.8 chain boost for free. Great. Worth it just for that, to be honest, but he's worth it for everything except for PvP, I guess. With that, let's take a look at some combos you can do. And yeah, this is what I call like the ultimate super boss team for the versus Kaido team comp. The Yak is obviously not the rare recruit Yak, it's the new V2 Legend Yak, which I don't own, so I just put something similar. But yeah, basically the way this works is that we have Queen as captain. This is only to enable Robin, because Robin is broken. If you can use Robin in Super Boss, you should use her no matter what. That's how good she is. Friend captain is obviously King. So the way this works is that first we use Yak, Queen, and King. Order doesn't really matter. This gives us a big chain boundary from Yak, chain boost from King, Call Affinity from Queen, and we also get some resistance applied to the enemy from Yak. Then we use versus Kaido, or before that we use Uta, just because we have to use her special. It doesn't do anything, we just need to use her special for her final tap, which is why Uta is here. Then we use versus Kaido, we get the specials back, but the only one we want to use again is Queen, because now we have the attack boost and nobles from Kaido, so when we use Queen again, we get that conditional to increase damage taken, and obviously you need to use Kaido's versus special, of course. Then we use Robin, get that death down conditional to stack with increased damage taken conditional, and then we just attack. We get the super tandem of Queen, King, or Yak. We didn't look at King's super tandem, I just realized, but they are basically all the same, it doesn't matter what you use. And then with final tap, we go with Uta instead of Kaido. Honestly, Kaido's final tap is a bit whatever. He gets plus 2250 base attack, and that's it, while Uta gets 2.25 times chain boost for the final tap. That's a big difference, that's amazing, especially since this team will already have a great chain boost. I even forgot to mention to use King's super type for that chain multiplier boost after you use versus Kaido. So yeah, this team will do tons of damage. It's actually pretty ridiculous. But as for Super Boss, that's not all I care about. I'm more excited for King for like any other content. And here are some potential stuff you can pair him with. Basically, King handles a ton of debuffs, and he handles all chains. So basically what you have to look at is other buffs for your team, like attack and orb boost mainly, as well as defensive effect on the enemy. And a very fun partner is actually Toki. Like, she isn't buffed by King at all, but like Toki's buff are rainbow, so she can put it on anyone. So remember the situation I said about 4 units getting binded, like top row captains and middle row? Use Toki on middle row, and you got a full team immunity to basically everything, and the middle row gets an amazing attack and ore boost. Like, this is an insane combo, and as said, like, it might change a bit with the rush meta, but if we go back to the way we understood things in the past, like, one unit not being boosted at all doesn't matter, because the first unit hitting does barely any damage. So it's fine to run this unit on the team. Moving on from that, like Uta again, just does a ton of buffs. Pretty similar to Kid, but Kid also has the option of adding another super tandem. But what's more exciting is like units removing defensive effects. And this is basically the only driven cerebral that can remove 5 turns of all defensive effects, like death up, damage reduction, damage threshold. And when you have a unit that handles so much, you can afford running a unit like this that basically just does one thing. Like, usually a unit like Prolin will be a bit power crept, not much reason to use, but you can afford that when you have a broken captain like this that does so much in one unit. Another very cool one is V2 Legend Garp. He's the only driven powerhouse, in this case just powerhouse, that can do the effect of ignoring defensive abilities. So basically King gives you basically full protection for normal stuff. Then if the enemy has like a big damage threshold or a barrier or something like that, you just use Garp and you ignore that too, so you just ignore a ton of stuff. So yeah, it is some overlap sadly, since Garp also does a chain boost like King, but then you maybe use King's super type special instead to complement Garp, and you have room for one more special apart from that. So yeah, it's actually a pretty good buff for Garp, for sure, I'd say. But yeah, that's all the partners I picked out, because basically King works with everything, he makes everything good, I'd say. So let's finish this video by first checking his super tandem, which I forgot, and then we'll talk a bit PvP. But yeah, the super tandem, it's basically the same as V2 Yak and V2 Queen. 2.25 time attack boost to driven, tandem attack boost. And King removes 3 turns of damage threshold. I think Queen is like damage reduction for King. I think Queen is like maybe death up, and Yak has the final one, like you pick whichever one helps, and if nothing helps then just whatever is highest super tandem. So it's pretty boring. I wish King had rush, but it is what it is. PvP. And yeah, King is pretty weak, I'm not going to lie. I did say that Queen had some potential to be on a like int bait team or something, but I don't know if King is even up for that. He does attack boost for int, blow away percent up level 6. Usually that's not very desirable, you want to keep the enemies together. If Kaido, King or Yak is on the team, you also get a speed up, and as I said before, speed up is not useless, it's just the least important normal stat. So there's no HP, no death up, and that's already a hard sell. Like, the special needs to make up for that. Targets in-type teammates for attack up level 7 for 30 seconds. Targets 3 enemies for 30% HP reduction 2 times. Like, what? And if Kaido, King or Yak is on the team, 1 high attack teammate gets 50% CT reduction. Like, yes, no. Like, the attack boost is nice, especially for 30 seconds, but then it's just whatever. Like, very low HP cut 2 times, not even to all enemies. Like, compare that to V1 Yak, like, it's a joke, honestly. Even to something like V2 Mihawk, way better than this. And sure, this CT reduction is nice, but this isn't a 36 CT special. Like, yeah, it's a joke. Like, don't use this unit in PvP. And he doesn't have a GP stat, just like Queen. So with that, we're done with the PvP talk. That was fast. But yeah, amazing unit. Can't really recommend pulling since he's not limited, but My god, he's good. So I'm very tempted to get him despite that, even if it's no rush, really. But I just want to try a double king, it looks so cool. But yeah, thanks for watching, guys. See you next time.